She said it the way people say the weather is changing. Informational, faintly bored, already moving on. We were on a video call. The kind that exists mostly out of habit. Her kitchen was behind her, half decorated. A strand of lights lay cold on the table like something waiting to be told what to do. No one needs you to come this Christmas. I nodded. I even smiled a little, because that's what years of practice had taught me do when my place in the family was being quietly revised. Cool. I said. There was a pause, barely a breath. She expected something else. A question, a protest. Some small proof that I still wanted permission. Instead, I added evenly. Well, everything will be cancelled then. The words landed without emphasis. No edge. No threat, just a fact, placed gently on the table between us. For a moment, nothing happened. Then I watched her face do something subtle and unmistakable. The color shifted, not dramatically but enough. As if a calculation had gone wrong. What do you mean, cancelled? She asked. I didn't answer right away. Not because I was being clever but because I was checking myself. Making sure I wasn't about to backpedal, soften, explain. That reflex lived deep. You said no one needs me to come. I said finally. And since I handle the bookings, the catering deposit, the airport pickups, there's nothing to keep active. Her mouth opened, then closed. She glanced off screen, toward the counter where a notebook lay open. I recognized it immediately. That was where she wrote things down so she wouldn't have to remember who did what. Well, she said, recovering some tone. That's a bit extreme. I shrugged. It's just logistics. That word, logistics, hung there. Unemotional. For years, my role in the family had been defined as optional in theory. Essential in practice. I wasn't the loud one. I wasn't the dramatic one. I was the one who made sure flights were booked before prices jumped, that everyone arrived fed. That the house didn't quietly fall apart under the weight of expectation. But none of that came with acknowledgement. It came with assumption. When I moved away, nothing changed except distance. I still coordinated Christmas, still paid the deposits, still negotiated with vendors who didn't care about family history, only confirmations. I had learned early that usefulness was safer than neediness. If I stayed helpful, I stayed included. Until that sentence. No one needs you to come. It wasn't cruel. That's what made it dangerous. It was said with the confidence of someone who believed the structure would hold without them thinking about it. My mother leaned back in her chair. You don't have to be so sensitive. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was familiar. Sensitivity had always been the explanation when consequences appeared. I'm not being sensitive, I said. I'm being consistent. She frowned. Christmas doesn't get cancelled because one person doesn't show up. I nodded, true. But reservations do. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Her eyes flicked back to the screen. Sharper now. You already paid the deposit, she said. It wasn't a questions, I said. Cancelable until tomorrow at noon. That was the moment something external entered the room, not anger, not emotion, but time. An authority that didn't care who raised whom. Her voice lowered. You didn't have to take it this far. I thought about all the times I'd taken things not far enough. All the times I'd absorbed comments, rearranged myself, stayed small so no one would accuse me of making things difficult. I didn't take it anywhere, I said. I stopped. Silence stretched. In it I could hear the house. A distant kettle, the faint hum of the refrigerator. All the signs of a holiday waiting to happen. You're punishing everyone, she said finally. I shook my head. I'm opting out. She stared at me like those were the same thing. In her world they always had been. Her phone buzzed again. This time she picked it up. I watched her eyes move as she read. Then she inhaled sharply. That's the caterer, she said. They need confirmation. I didn't respond. You could still come, she said. Quickly now. I didn't mean it like that. There it was. The revision, the softening. I felt something loosen in my chest, not triumph but clarity. This wasn't about me being unwanted. It was about control being unexamined. I heard what you said, I replied. And I responded accordingly. Her jaw tightened. You're being difficult on purpose. No. I said. I'm being away from the screen again, toward the decorations, the lists. The future she had assumed would assemble itself. What will people think? She asked. That question had powered so much of my life. I almost felt nostalgic. They'll think Christmas didn't work out, I said. That happens. The call ended not with a fight, but with a promise to talk later. We both knew that meant something different now. At 11:43 the next morning I cancelled the reservations. At 11:47, I forwarded the confirmation emails. I didn't add commentary. An hour later, my aunt texted, then my brother. Confusion rippled outward, slow and disbelieving. No one accused me directly. They asked questions that assumed there had been a mistake. I didn't correct them. By evening, my mother called again. This time, her voice was measured, almost careful. "You could have told me," she said. "I did," I replied. There was no apology. There didn't need to be. Something had shifted that didn't require agreement to be real. Christmas came and went quietly that year. No photos, no group messages, just an absence that felt heavier than conflict. I spent the day alone. Not lonely, just alone. I cooked something simple, I went for a walk. The world didn't end. Weeks later, my mother mentioned next year. In passing, no assumptions. No declarations, just a possibility, held loosely. I didn't answer right away. Some power never announces itself. It simply stops cooperating, and that, I learned, is sometimes enough.